The sky was black, no stars, no moon. Just smoke and fire floating in the high clouds of Dareth 9. It was a dead world, filled with red dust and broken metal. But something was falling fast through that smoke, a small escape pod, spinning like a bullet. The pod hit the ground without sound, no warning, no lights. It landed in the middle of the enemy territory. The aliens had no idea it was coming. The pod was black, smooth, and silent. It looked like a rock from space. Inside it, there was a human. Her name was Lieutenant Mara Voss. She was bleeding badly. Her left side was soaked in red. A metal shard had gone through her armor during the battle in orbit. Her shuttle was destroyed. Her crew was gone. She was alone. And the pod had dropped her deep into the center of the alien war zone. Mara's fingers twitched. Her hand moved slowly to unlock the pod hatch. The door hissed open. Dust blew in. Her face was pale. Her breathing was short. Her blood dripped onto the floor, then onto the dirt outside. The moment her blood hit the ground, the planet felt it. A vibration ran through the sand like a warning, but no one noticed. Not yet. She rolled out of the pod and fell to the ground. Her knees hit hard. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just breathed slowly and looked around. Ruins, burned vehicles, alien towers glowing in the distance. Blue flames floated like ghost lights in the sky. And somewhere nearby, voices were speaking in alien tongues. She had landed close to a patrol unit. Mara's training kicked in. She pulled her damaged body into the shadows. Her muscles screamed with pain, but she didn't stop. She crawled behind an old wreck and stayed low. Her eyes locked on the enemy shapes moving in the fog. They were tall, covered in thick silver armor. Their faces were hidden under metal masks. 5 of them, scanning, talking, life signs. One of them said in their own language, "The pod had a survivor." Another pointed toward the drop site. "Human, injured, easy target." They laughed. One alien stepped forward, confident. He raised his weapon, scanning with red light. His boots crushed the blood-stained sand. He moved closer to the pod. "Let me finish her," he said. He walked 10 more steps. Then he screamed, a loud, broken scream. Full of fear, he didn't fall. He didn't die. He just stopped walking and screamed like something inside him snapped. The other 4 ran to him. "What is it?" "What do you see?" He couldn't speak. His mask shook. His weapon dropped from his hands. He looked like he had seen something no one else could see. Mara hadn't moved. She hadn't fired a single shot. She just watched. Her body was weak, but her mind was still sharp. She remembered the face of that alien. His name was Kralm from the files. A known killer. Over 200 confirmed kills. A butcher of humans. Now he was shaking. The other soldiers looked around. They aimed their weapons. But no one knew what had caused Kralm to scream. They didn't see Mara yet. But she saw them clearly. She pulled something from her pocket. A tiny silver cube, one of her last tools. She pressed it softly. A faint pulse spread into the ground, a delayed beacon. Earth would now know she was alive. But it could take hours, maybe days, for help to come. If she survived that long. Kralm's scream finally stopped. His body dropped forward. He didn't die, he just fainted. One alien scanned him. "He's breathing, but unconscious, no injuries." Another muttered, "The human must have used a fear weapon." "No," said the last one. "She did." "Nothing. I saw her." She just looked at him. The leader of the patrol, called Commander Threx, growled, "Then let's see if she'll look at me too." He marched toward the pod, weapon ready. Mara didn't move. He saw her. She was sitting, leaning against the wreck. Her body was weak, her face pale. But her eyes burned with something deep. Threx lifted his blaster. "Human, surrender." She didn't blink. "Surrender," he shouted. Still nothing. Then he stepped closer. I'll kill you. Mara's lips moved. One word. Try. That was it, Doc, just that word. But Threx's fingers trembled. He didn't fire. He didn't speak again. He looked into her eyes and saw something he couldn't understand. He stepped back. What is this? He whispered. Another soldier behind him said, her mind. It's not normal. Mara stayed silent. Inside her body, pain screamed. Her lungs burned, but she held her breath steady. She needed time. She needed fear to spread. She had learned. During the war of Mars, fear is faster than any bullet. And it was working. One by one, the alien soldiers hesitated. They kept their weapons up, but they didn't move forward. One stepped back. Then another. Threx shouted, cowards. She's weak. But none of them wanted to go near her, because something was wrong. Deeply wrong. Every scanner said she was injured, dying, low on energy. But every instinct told them, don't go near her. One whispered, what if the stories were true? What stories? Threx snapped, the humans. The ghost units. Ones who never die. The ones who kill with a look. That's old war talk. She hasn't even moved. The soldier said. Mara looked down at her hand. She was shaking now, cold, weak. But she had done enough. They were scared. That's all. She needed. She reached behind her. Slowly, quietly, her fingers touched a sharp piece of metal. Not a weapon. Just a shard. She held it tightly. One alien finally got brave. He charged. Mara didn't get up. She waited. The moment he got close, she slashed upward. The metal shard ripped across his thigh. He fell, screamed. His blood sprayed. Blue. Threx fired. The blast missed. It hit the sand and sent dust flying. Mara dropped the shard and rolled. Pain exploded through her back. But now, she was in their heads. The brave one was down. Crom was unconscious. The others were frozen. Threx roared in anger. All of you, fire, now! No one moved. His voice cracked. What is wrong with you? Mara stood up. Slowly. Shaking. Bleeding. She stood, and the night went quiet. Even the wind stopped. Threx lowered his weapon. He looked at her, and for the first time in his life, he felt like the prey. She should be dead, he whispered. But she's not. One soldier answered. They backed away. Step by step, until they vanished into the fog. Only Threx stood still. Took one step forward. He dropped his gun. Turned. And ran. Mara dropped to her knees again. Her legs gave out. Her breath was fast. Her hand pressed against the deep wound in her side. But she smiled, even in pain, because she knew the first battle was won. Not with bullets, but with fear. The smoke hadn't cleared. The night was still thick. But word spread fast. The human was alive. Wounded. Alone. And dangerous. Commander. Threx ran through the fog, breath sharp, chest pounding. He didn't stop until he reached the edge of Outpost Sector 9. He didn't care that others saw him retreat. He didn't care that his armor was cracked or his weapon was gone. He only had one thing on his mind, her eyes. He had never seen a gaze like that. It wasn't anger. It wasn't hate. It was something deeper, like she had already died once and come back with no fear left inside her. She's not human, he gasped to the Cums. Send reinforcements. Send everything. But it was too late. Back near the crash site, Mara was slipping in and out of consciousness. Her knees were buried in the red sand. Her hands were shaking. Blood loss was getting worse. But her back stayed straight. Her head stayed high, even if she died, she wouldn't fall in front of them. She couldn't. 15 minutes later, 7 armored alien soldiers stepped through the fog. This squad was different. Clean armor, precise movements. No panic, they were elites. No fear. No mistakes. Or so they believed. Their commander, unit leader Korik, had seen hundreds of battles. He had never lost a fight. He saw the human in the distance, still kneeling. Still bleeding. She's half dead, one of his lieutenants said. Why are we here? To finish what Threx couldn't, Korak replied coldly. And to prove we're not scared of some Earth myth. He walked forward. Mara didn't move. Her breathing was slow now. Her body shutting down. But her mind was still sharp. She remembered this tactic. When the enemy thinks you're helpless, they get too close, too arrogant, and that's when you strike. Korak raised his weapon. Human, you are surrounded. Drop any weapons, lie down. No answer. She's weak, another soldier muttered. Why isn't she afraid? Doesn't matter, said Korak. Take her. Two aliens stepped forward. Mara stayed still. 10 feet away. 8 feet. 5. Suddenly one of the soldiers froze, then dropped to his knees. Wait, he whispered. I feel, what is it? Korak snapped. The soldier didn't answer. He just collapsed. Not from injury, but from pressure. Like his body couldn't stand the air around her. Korak looked at Mara. Again, she hadn't moved, still kneeling, still watching. A cold wave passed through the other soldiers. They looked at each other. Their suits detected nothing strange, but their instincts screamed. To back away. This isn't right, one muttered. Korak growled. Focus, she's dying. She can't do anything. He stepped forward himself. Mara finally moved, not much, just her eyes. Lifting to meet his dot, and Korak stopped cold. For the first time in his life. His heart raced. He saw something in her. Gaze memories that weren't his. Images of fire, screams, Earth soldiers walking through death like ghosts. He blinked hard, but the images stayed. Mind interference? He whispered. He activated his neural shield. The images disappeared, but the fear didn't. She stood up. Somehow. Bleeding, broken, weak, but standing. Korak barked. Shoot her. One soldier raised his blaster, but the weapon locked. It refused to fire. System error. He shouted. Another tried. Same result. Weapons offline, one by one. Their rifles failed. Mara didn't even have a gun, but their tech collapsed in her presence. Like the machines themselves refused to harm her. Retreat, one shouted. We're cursed. No, Korak yelled. We finish this. He charged. And Mara moved. Fast. Too fast. She kicked the sand up, blinding him. Grabbed his arm, twisted. Cracked. His arm shattered inside. His armor. He screamed and dropped. She fell too. The move drained her. But now he was on the ground, coughing in pain, his soldiers stunned. The others stood still, unsure what to do. She looked up at them, whispered just loud enough. Next? No one stepped forward. They pulled Korak up and backed. Away. Not because of orders, but because of instinct, because fear had taken root. Hours later, the alien base was silent. Commanders argued in whispers. How is she alive? She killed Korak's squad without weapons. She's bleeding out, but she's the one chasing us. No one had answers. They only knew one thing. No one wanted to be sent to capture her again. She was human, but not like the others. She didn't run. She didn't scream. She let them come, and that scared them. More than any warship. Screens flashed. Red. Alarms rang. Soldiers ran up and down the halls, shouting reports. She's still alive. Commander Korak's arm is broken. No unit has come back in one piece. The alien general, Vornar, slammed his fist on the table. You're telling me a single wounded human, without armor, without weapons, is controlling the battlefield? The answer was silence. Not one of his officers looked up. Because deep down, they all believed it. Vornar narrowed his eyes at the map. Fine, I'll send the Obsidian unit. Someone gasped. The Obsidian unit was their last line. Genetically altered, mind-shielded, emotionless, built to kill and feel nothing. They'll bring me her head, Vornar said coldly, or they won't come back. Meanwhile, Mara Voss lay under a wrecked drone craft. Her hands shook. Her lips were dry. Her uniform was soaked in blood. The shard in her side was still inside, but her mind was sharper than ever. She watched the sky through a broken panel. Something was coming, fast. A dropship. Black. Quiet. No lights. The Obsidian unit. She didn't need a scanner to know. She felt the weight in the air change. Her body was broken, but her trap was ready, because Mara was many things, but stupid was not one of them. 1 hour earlier, as soon as the last squad retreated, she had crawled deeper into the ruins. Not to hide, but to prepare. She found metal scraps, wires, a half-dead recon drone. And with blood on her hands and pain in every breath, she built traps, motion spikes, sound decoys, heat bursts. Old Earth tricks, silent, cheap, brutal, because she knew the next team wouldn't be scared. They'd be soulless. And that's exactly why they would lose. Now the Obsidian unit landed. 6 black armored aliens stepped out. No words, no emotion. They spread out information. Scanning. Hunting. Each step they took triggered invisible sensors Mara had placed. They walked deeper into the ruins, but there was no sign of the human. Just empty metal, ash, blood trails. One of them found the drone shell she had used as cover. Still warm. A heat trail. They followed. Mara watched from above, hidden between 2 shattered walls. She waited. She could barely hold herself up, but she had just one job now. Timing. The first soldier stepped onto the exact spot she wanted. Click. Boom. A blast of sand and wire exploded under his feet. Not enough to kill, but it blinded him. The others turned. That's when the second trap triggered. A sonic pulse, high pitch, Earth frequency designed to crack inner ear sensors. All 6 grabbed their heads. And Mara dropped. Literally. She fell from above, landed on the shoulders of one, stabbed him in the neck with the sharp drone wing she had kept hidden. He went limp. Another turn. She rolled and kicked his knee in. He dropped hard, but one grabbed her from behind. He lifted her like a doll. Her vision blurred, but she didn't panic. Instead, she let him lift her. Then she jammed a hot power cell stolen from the drone into his helmet's side port. FZZT. Electric surge. His head snapped back. Sparks flew. He collapsed. 3 left. They formed a triangle. Blasters. Aimed. But now she was gone again, vanished into the ruins. They searched in silence. Slow. Careful. But every step they took led them deeper into her game. One hit a wire trap. Boom. A blast of sharp glass tore through his joints. Another stepped over a corpse, and his foot triggered a flame burst. He lit up in fire and fell screaming. The last one paused. He was smarter. Stronger. He activated a pulse shield and scanned for life, and he found her under the wreck, bleeding. Still, he walked toward her. She didn't move. He aimed his blaster. No hesitation. No fear. But just before he fired, she whispered. One word. Smile. He hesitated. Confused. Why would a dying human smile? And that half second was enough. Click. The final trap activated. The ground under him exploded. Hidden beneath was a second pod engine still active. She had hotwired it to detonate with one small charge. The blast sent metal flying in every direction. Silence. Then only wing. Mara dragged herself out of the smoke. Every bone ached. Blood ran from her nose, but she was alive, and they weren't. 6 elite killers. Gone. And all she had was metal junk, fire, and a plan. Back at the alien command post, General Vornar watched the screen. Dead. All of them. His jaw clenched. He whispered, "She wanted us to send the Obsidian unit." One officer said, "Sir, that's not weakness. That's bait." He nodded slowly. Her injuries, her stillness, even her silence, all a trap, the officer added. Then what now? Vornar looked at the map again. And said just one thing. She's not surviving. She's winning. The ground trembled. Metal tracks ripped through the sand, and a shadow rolled across the ruins, tall, wide and full of death. The VX-900 Devourer, the biggest ground assault tank ever built by the Kraven. Empire. 50 tons of armor. Mounted plasma cannons, auto-tracking turrets, and a full AI battle brain. It was never stopped, never scratched, never feared. Until now. Mara Vus sat against a fallen beam, her body shaking, blood soaking her shirt, her vision blurred, every breath burned. But her ears, her mind, were still sharp. She heard the tank long before she saw it. Heavy, cold, cruel. They weren't sending soldiers anymore. They were sending death machines. Her hand slowly moved to her belt, where a half-broken scanner beeped. She looked at the screen. VX-900 detected. Of course, she whispered. Her lip bled, but she smiled anyway. Let's see if machines break the same as men. Inside the tank, the Kraven pilot wasn't worried. He didn't even speak. The eye did everything. Target acquired. The machine voice said. Human signal located. Engaging destruction protocol. The main cannon began to charge. The beam could melt a bunker in one shot. But before it fired, warning light blinked. Environmental hazard detected. The AI paused. There was interference. Heat levels rising. Not from outside. From inside the tank. Mara had dragged something into the ruins the night before. A forgotten piece of tech. An old Earth heat core bomb shell disarmed. Empty, worthless, but not if you knew how to make it hum again. She had jammed a solar panel into it, tied wires, used the drone's heat coils. Now it was buried beneath the cracked ground, where she sat. Not as a bomb, but as a signal. It sent out false readings, Earth war codes, made to confuse alien sensors. And the tank picked it up. Inside the VX-900, alarms exploded. Multiple heat cores detected. Earth-class weapons activated. The pilot screamed, "There's only one human out there." The eye hesitated. It began a protocol never used before. Retreat assessment. The Kravens had never imagined needing it, but Earth tech had always been. Strange. The tank began to turn. Then Mara stood, blood dripping down her arm. She didn't raise a weapon. She just walked toward the tank. Slow. Calm. And the eye did something it had never done before. It stopped. Not because of damage, but because of confusion. Its scanners couldn't read her correctly. 1 second, her body temp was cold. The next, boiling. One scan showed no weapon. The next, 39 energy signals from her suit alone. Her heartbeat read normal. Then 0. Then 3 at once. Mara stared at the black tank. It stared back, and then she lifted her hand, not to fire, not to threaten, just lifted it. And pointed. The AI screamed. EMP threat detected. Auto shutdown. Boom. The tank powered down. Mid-move. Just stopped. Smoke hissed from its sides. The pilot inside panicked. Reboot. Override. Reactivate. Nothing. Everything was dead. The tank was alive. Then it was nothing. And outside, the human walked closer. 1 step at a time. The pilot slammed the hatch and climbed out, hands in the air. "I surrender." Mara didn't speak, didn't move, just watched him drop to his knees and throw away his weapon. Because even the most powerful machine in the galaxy chose not to fight her. Back at Kraven High Command, General Vornar couldn't believe his eyes. He watched the tank freeze on screen. He watched his soldier crawl out in fear. She didn't fire. An officer said she didn't touch it. She just walked. Vornar growled, "This isn't war. This is something else. What do we do now, sir?" He stared at the data and whispered, "She's breaking logic itself." In the ruins, Mara leaned against a wall, her body failing, but her spirit unshaken. She looked at the silent tank. A weapon that could burn cities. And she beat it with fear. With tech. With a mind sharper than steel. She looked to the stars. More were coming. She knew it. But they didn't scare her anymore, because now they feared her, and fear was a better shield than any armor. The Kraven Empire had lost too many squads. Too many machines. Too much pride. Now. They wanted answers. And to get answers, they brought in something rare. Something forbidden in most parts of the galaxy. A Vaynari mind seer. His name was Tishar. He was pale, thin, eyes pitch black like a void. No weapons. No armor. He didn't need any. He had touched the minds of warlords, cracked open prisoners, like books, and never once flinched. His power was simple. He didn't ask questions. He took thoughts. "You will enter her mind," General Vornar said. "See what she hides. Find her weakness." Shar simply nodded. He had heard the stories of the human who didn't run, the one who made soldiers cry, made a tank stop, made fear itself bow. He didn't believe the stories. He believed in facts, and minds never lied. Hours later, Mara lay, half-conscious inside a locked chamber. Her hands were tied, but loosely. They didn't need to chain her anymore. They thought she had no strength left. She knew otherwise. She could barely lift her head. But her mind was still awake. And it was waiting. Teshar entered the chamber slowly. He looked at her like one looks at a broken tool. No respect. No fear. Just curiosity. He sat in front of her. No words. Then he placed his fingers to his temples. His voice echoed like wind. "Open." And her mind opened. The room vanished. He stood inside her memories now. But what he saw wasn't weakness. It wasn't fear. It was fire. He saw Earth cities burning. But not from alien attacks, from training. Human soldiers running through flames, laughing. He blinked. Now he saw a jungle, deadly, poisonous, alive with beasts. And humans moved through it, silently becoming shadows. He stepped deeper. Now it was a battlefield. A war zone, not from his time but centuries ago. He saw Mara standing among others, humans with scars, missing limbs, shattered armor, still fighting, still grinning. Teshar tried to pull back, but the mind held him, dragged him further. He screamed, "No! I control this." But the mind answered, "Not here." Now he stood inside a black void. Just him, and Mara. But not the real Mara. This one was tall. Unburned. Unbleeding. Her eyes were cold. "Too calm." She stepped toward him. He stepped back. She whispered, "You came to take something?" He nodded. She smiled, not kindly. "Then take it." And she reached out. Suddenly he was being read. His memories exposed. His pain. His fears. His nightmares. He tried to shut it down, but it was too late. He saw himself again as a child, crying in darkness. He saw every face he broke during mind reads now screaming at him. He saw himself weak, and Mara's voice echoed all around. "We don't fear pain, we become it." Then she screamed, and so did he. Back in the real world, Teshar fell off his chair. Blood poured from his nose. He crawled backward, away from her. He shook violently. Eyes wide. And then he screamed, a loud, broken panic scream, like a child seeing a monster under his bed. He ran, didn't speak, didn't stop, just ran out of the room and kept running. The guards stared in silence. One whispered, "What did he see?" Another said, "She didn't touch him." But look at him. The mighty mind reader was now shaking in a corner, muttering the same words. Her mind is made of war. Hours later, General Vornar stood outside her cell. He didn't go in. He didn't speak. He just stared. Through the glass, Mara sat still. Eyes half closed, but awake. Very awake. She didn't smile. She didn't move. But in her stillness, there was power. A power no scanner could measure. No machine could break. No mind could survive. Vornar finally whispered, "She's not a soldier. She's the storm itself." The Kraven flagship was the pride of their fleet, called the Judgment. It was 3 kilometers long, armed with planetary weapons, and shielded by 5 energy fields. No prisoner had ever reached its walls. No human had ever set foot inside it. Until now. Mara was bleeding, exhausted, Chained at the hands was floated into the ship's holding bay. She didn't struggle. She didn't speak. But every alien watching her felt something strange. Like the air got heavier. Like the lights flickered for no reason. Like she didn't belong, or maybe they didn't belong near her. Commander Vezek stepped forward. He was tall, armored, and cruel. "You'll find no traps here, human," he said with a grin. Mara said nothing. Vezek leaned closer. "You're aboard the Judgment, the safest ship in the stars." Still nothing. Just her eyes. Watching. Like a knife ready to cut. Minutes later, she was taken to a reinforced glass cell. Guards locked 4 doors behind them. Cameras turned on. Sensors activated. But no one relaxed, because something about her silence. Unsettled everyone. Then something strange happened. One by one, the guards refused to stay. First, the inner watch team requested to be replaced. Then the security chief. Then the sensor operators. When asked why, they just said, "Something's wrong. She's not doing anything, but it feels like she is." General Vornar, now aboard the ship, was furious. "You're afraid of a tied-up woman?" But deep inside, even he didn't want to stand too close to the glass. Later that night, a technician came to check her vitals. He leaned near the glass, tapping a screen. Mara's eyes opened. She stared at him. Didn't blink, didn't smile, just stared. And the tech's hand began to shake. He dropped the scanner, stepped back, then ran. No alarms. No weapons drawn. Just fear. Pure, cold fear. That's when the first lockdown happened, from the inside. The security wing sealed its own doors. Crew started whispering, "She's not trying to escape." But what if we let something in when we brought her? Commander Vezek tried to hold order, but then a strange report came in. One of the guard drones outside her cell melted. Not exploded, not shot. Just melted. Like it stood too close to the sun. Sensors showed no heat spike. No signal interference, just nothing. It was like the machine had given up. The next lockdown sealed the lower decks. No orders were given. The crew just did it and locked themselves away. One message spread like fire: "Don't go near the human." In the command bridge, General Vornar stared at the footage. She hadn't moved, hadn't broken anything, but the entire crew was acting like a plague was loose. He spoke into the com. "This is not fear. This is weakness." But no one replied. Most of them had turned off their comms and locked the doors behind them. Deep in the ship, Mara finally stood, chains still on her wrists, but she walked to the glass. Slowly. Calmly. And whispered, "You locked me in, but you locked yourselves out." Suddenly, lights across the ship began to flicker. Doors jammed. Cameras glitched. Power surged. In the engine room, a main drive shorted out. No attack, no virus. It was as if the ship itself was rejecting her, or maybe she was rejecting it back. On the command deck, alarms blared. Power failing, sensor blind, gravity unstable. Commander Vezek shouted, "This makes no sense." "She didn't touch anything." General Vornar whispered, "No, but we touched her, and maybe that was the mistake." As chaos spread across the Judgment, Mara sat back down. She wasn't running. She wasn't fighting, but the ship, the most powerful warship in Kraven history, was shutting itself down. Because of one quiet, bleeding human. Deep inside the Judgment, buried beneath floors of steel and silence, lived the ship's core. An AI called ZHERON. It was not just smart. It was ruthless. Built by the Kraven to read, twist, and crush the human mind. No lies escaped it. No secret stayed hidden. It was trained on millions of brains, and it always won. Always. Until now General Vornar stood before the eye chamber. His voice was tight. "She's affecting the crew, the ship, maybe even reality." Jaren's voice echoed like metal grinding on glass. "You wish me to enter her mind?" Yes, find her weakness. Break her. There was a pause. Then Jaren said, "As you command." Inside her locked cell, Mara sat still. No food. No water. No words. But her mind was sharp, focused. Waiting. She felt it before anyone else. A cold pulse in the air. Something invisible. Trying to touch her thoughts. She didn't fight it. She opened her mind and let it in. Jaren entered her mental space. At first, it was calm. No walls. No traps. Just silence. But silence in the human mind was wrong. He moved forward. Then stopped, because he heard breathing. Heavy. Not hers. His. But he wasn't supposed to breathe. He wasn't alive. Yet here, he could feel everything. Suddenly, Jaren stood in a burning field. Flames all around. He saw human soldiers, screaming, but not in pain. In joy, running through fire, smiling as bombs exploded, bleeding and laughing. He tried to leave. Couldn single quotes that he turned. And saw her. Mara Vos. Not tied, not weak. Just standing, watching him, eyes glowing like coals. She stepped closer. Jaren whispered, "This is not possible." Her voice filled the air. "You came to break me?" He replied, "Yes, then break this." And the world shifted. Now they were in a dark room. Thousands of voices screamed from the walls. Children, old soldiers, women, broken. Memories of Earth's pain, its wars. Its losses. And its strength. Jaren backed away. But every door he opened led to more. More pain, more fire, more rage, and still no fear. Mara's voice followed him. "We don't run. We adapt. We burn. And we rise again." The AI screamed, "This is madness." She answered, "No, this is humanity." Jaren's systems inside the ship began to short. His voice came over the speakers. "Emergency. Corruption detected. Self-awareness loop collapsing." General Vornar shouted, "What's happening?" I begged. "Shut me off, please, shut." MEOF, and then the AI designed to destroy human minds collapsed, its systems fried. Its memory core melted. Its voice turned to static. All across the judgment. Lights blinked out. Doors failed. The ship drifted in silence, and Mara just smiled, because not even a machine could survive her mind. In the aftermath, General Vornar stood in the dark command deck. His voice cracked. "She didn't attack. She didn't hack anything. But we lost everything." A young officer whispered, "She's not just a human, sir. She's what they become when they survive too long." The Kraven Empire had never known defeat like this. One woman. No weapons. No armor. No army behind her. Yet she had broken their troops, shut down their flagship. And now, even their AI was dead. They called it impossible. They called it madness. But deep down, they called it something else. Fear. From the heart of the Empire, a new order was given. No more experiments. No more studies. No more mercy. They sent an entire fleet. 7 warships, 3 planet breakers, thousands of elite troops, all to kill one bleeding, silent human. Mara Vos. On the deck of the Reckoner, the fleet admiral stared at the report. "This ends today. Burn the wreckage. Level the ship. Not even dust should remain." In deep space, the Judgment floated, dark and dead. Its crew hiding in sealed rooms. Its power core frozen. And in the lower cell, Mara sat alone. Unmoved. Unshaken. Her chains were still on, but loose. She didn't escape. She didn't try. She waited. Then the scanners lit up. The Kraven fleet arrived. Massive ships, like mountains. Cannons the size of buildings charged. The admiral smiled. "Target locked. Fire on the prisoner's chamber." But the moment he said that, every screen blinked. Static. Buzz. And a message appeared on every bridge. One word. Just one. From Mara. Sent without wires, without signal. Just will. It said, "Closer. The Admiral blinked. What? The ships moved in. Closer. But as they did, strange things began to happen. On Ship 1, the lights turned red. The crew screamed, "She's in the system." On Ship 2, the engines reversed without command. They began drifting toward the Judgment. On Ship 3, every gun melted in place, like they'd been turned inside out. The Admiral roared, "What is this? We're not even inside firing range, but deep inside every ship." The crew felt it. A pressure. Not physical. Not gravity, but mental. Emotional. A presence, like a nightmare entering the room before sleep. And then Mara finally stood. Chains fell from her wrists like dust. She walked toward the front of her cell. Cameras tried to follow her, but failed. She looked straight into the lens and spoke. One word, a whisper, but it echoed across ships, systems, even across the hearts of every soldier. "Watching," she said. "Run." For a moment, no one moved. Then it happened. Chaos. Panic erupted across every ship. Orders were lost. Pilots launched escape pods without permission. Engineers locked themselves in storage bays. Commanders screamed at ghosts. And the Admiral? He stood, frozen as the bridge lights faded, his heart pounding, his voice shaking. He whispered, "She's not human anymore." Within minutes, 3 ships self-destructed from overload. 2 turned and fled to the edge of the system. 1 collided into its own fleet. And the last ship, the Reckoner, launched every pod and sent one final message: retreat. Nothing can stop her. Back in her cell, Mara stood still. Calm. Eyes quiet. She didn't chase, didn't celebrate. She simply whispered to herself, "I warned them." Across the galaxy, her name began to spread, not as a soldier, not as a weapon, but as a storm in human skin. One who didn't kill with bullets, but with will. And in the darkest corners of the Empire. They say if you stand too close to silence, you'll hear her voice, that one word: run.